All right, let's dive into this. Are you ready to shake off that laziness and get to work? I know it's not always easy, but trust me, the rewards are worth it. You see, laziness is a sneaky little thing. It creeps up on you when you least expect it, whispering sweet nothings in your ear about how comfortable the couch is or how much more fun it would be to binge watch that new show instead of tackling your to-do list. But here's the thing, giving in to laziness is like putting your dreams on hold. Every time you choose the easy way out, you're pushing your goals a little further out of reach. I've been there, believe me. There have been plenty of times when I just wanted to kick back and relax instead of putting in the hard work. But over the years, I've learned that discipline is the key to success. It's not about being perfect or never taking a break. It's about making a conscious choice each day to show up and give it your best shot. Think about it this way, every small action you take builds momentum. Even if you don't feel like you're making much progress at first, those little steps start to add up over time. Before you know it, you've climbed a mountain. But if you never take that first step, you'll stay stuck at the bottom forever. Now, I know some of you might be thinking, but wait, I'm not lazy, I'm just overwhelmed. I have so much on my plate that I don't even know where to start, and trust me, I get it. We live in a world that's constantly demanding our time and attention. It's easy to feel like you're being pulled in a million different directions at once. But here's the thing, overwhelm is often just laziness in disguise. When we feel like we have too much to do, it's tempting to throw our hands up in defeat and do nothing at all. But that's not going to get us anywhere. The key is to take a deep breath, break those big tasks down into smaller chunks, and tackle them one at a time. Let's say you have a big project due at work next week. It feels like an impossible mountain to climb, right? But what if you broke it down into bite-sized pieces? Instead of thinking about the whole project, focus on one small task at a time. Maybe today you spend an hour outlining your plan of attack. Tomorrow you dive into the research. The next day you start putting together your presentation. Bit by bit, piece by piece, that project starts to take shape. And before you know it, you're standing at the top of that mountain feeling pretty darn proud of yourself. Of course, staying motivated isn't always easy. There will be days when you just don't feel like doing anything, believe me. I've been there more times than I can count. But that's when discipline really comes into play. On those days when your motivation is running low, you have to dig deep and find that inner strength to keep pushing forward. One trick I've found helpful is to focus on the why behind your goals. Why do you want to achieve this thing in the first place? What will it mean for your life, your career, your family? When you connect with that deeper purpose, it becomes a lot easier to push through the tough times. Another thing that can help is surrounding yourself with positive influences. Find people who inspire you, who challenge you to be your best self. Join a mastermind group or find an accountability partner who will hold you to your commitments. When you have a supportive network cheering you on, it's amazing how much further you can go. Now, I want to take a moment to talk about something that often goes hand in hand with laziness procrastination. How many of you have put off an important task because it felt too hard or too boring or too scary? Raise his hand sheepishly, yeah, I thought so. We've all been there. But here's the thing about procrastination, it's a vicious cycle. The longer you put something off, the more daunting it becomes in your mind. And then you start to feel guilty or ashamed for not doing it sooner, which just makes you want to avoid it even more. It's a never-ending loop of misery and self-doubt. So how do we break free from that cycle? Well, the first step is simply to start. I know that sounds overly simplistic, but hear me out. When we're stuck in procrastination mode, we often build things up in our minds to be way harder than they actually are. We create these elaborate worst-case scenarios about how everything will go wrong and will fail miserably. But 99 times out of 100, those fears are completely unfounded. The reality is that once you take that first step, once you sit down and start writing that first sentence or making that first phone call or going to that first gym session, it's never as bad as you thought it would be. In fact, you might even find that you enjoy it. And even if you don't love every second of it, at least you're making progress. You're proving to yourself that you can do hard things, that you're stronger than your excuses. Another way to combat procrastination is to use the power of deadlines. Now, I know deadlines can feel scary. Nobody likes the pressure of a ticking clock. But sometimes a little bit of pressure is exactly what we need to kick our butts into gear. When we know there's a hard stop on the horizon, it forces us to get focused and get moving. Of course, not all deadlines are created equal. If you're the one setting the deadline for yourself, it can be tempting to push it back again and again until you've lost all sense of urgency. That's why external deadlines can be so powerful. When someone else is counting on you to deliver, you're much more likely to follow through. But what if you don't have any external deadlines looming? What if you're working on a personal project or goal that's entirely self-directed? Well, that's where you have to get creative. Maybe you set up a reward system for yourself. If you finish that task by Friday, you get to take yourself out for a fancy dinner over the weekend. Or maybe you enlist a friend or family member to hold you accountable. You commit to sending them regular progress updates. And if you miss a deadline, there's a consequence, like having to do their laundry for a week. The point is, there are always ways to create structure and accountability in your life, even when you're the one calling the shots. And when you have that structure in place, it becomes a lot easier to stay on track and avoid falling into the procrastination trap. Now, I want to take a moment to address something that often goes hand in hand with laziness and procrastination fear. How many of you have held yourself back from going after your dreams because you were afraid of failing? Or afraid of what other people might think? Or afraid of the unknown? Fear is a powerful thing, my friends. It can keep us stuck in our comfort zones, going through the motions day after day, even when we know deep down that we're meant for something more. But here's the thing, fear is also a liar. It tells us that we're not good enough, that we don't have what it takes, that we should just play it safe and stick with what we know. But I'm here to tell you that those fears are just stories we tell ourselves. They're not the truth. The truth is that you are capable of incredible things. You have unique talents and gifts that the world needs. And yes, pursuing your dreams can be scary, but it's also exhilarating, fulfilling, and so darn worth it. Think about it this way. What's the worst that could happen if you go after that big goal and it doesn't work out? Sure, you might feel disappointed or embarrassed for a little while, but then what? Life goes on. You pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and try again. Failure is not the end of the story, it's just a chapter along the way. And what's the best that could happen if you go after that big goal and succeed? Well, my friend, the sky's the limit. You could change your life, your community, even the world. You could inspire others to chase their own dreams. You could create a legacy that lasts long after you're gone. But none of that can happen if you let fear hold you back. So here's what I want you to do the next time that little voice of doubt starts whispering in your ear. I want you to talk back to it. Remind yourself of all the times you've overcome challenges in the past. Remind yourself of all the people who believe in you and support you. Remind yourself of why you started down this path in the first place. And then take a deep breath, square your shoulders, and keep moving forward. Because the world needs what you have to offer. The world needs your passion, your creativity, your unique perspective. Don't let laziness or procrastination or fear rob the world of all the amazing things you have inside you. Now, I know we've covered a lot of ground here today. We've talked about discipline, motivation, procrastination, fear, all the big obstacles that can stand in the way of our success. But I want to leave you with one final thought, and it's perhaps the most important one of all. At the end of the day, achieving your goals isn't about being perfect. It's not about never making mistakes or never feeling scared or never struggling with laziness. It's about getting back up every single time you fall down. It's about choosing to keep going even when every fiber of your being wants to quit. It's about believing in yourself and your dreams even when the world tells you to play it safe. Because here's the thing, you are so much stronger than you think you are. You have reservoirs of courage and determination and grit inside you that you haven't even begun to tap into yet. And when you start to harness that power, when you start to show up for yourself day after day, even when it's hard, even when you don't feel like it, that's when the magic happens. That's when you start to see progress. That's when you start to build momentum. That's when you start to realize that you're capable of so much more than you've ever imagined. So here's my challenge to you starting today. I want you to commit to showing up for yourself. I want you to commit to taking one small step toward your goals every single day, no matter what. Even if it's just for 5 minutes. Even if you don't feel like it. Even if you're scared out of your mind. Because those small steps, they add up. They compound over time. And before you know it, you'll look back and realize just how far you've come. You'll realize that you've climbed mountains you once thought were insurmountable. You'll realize that you've achieved things you once thought were impossible. And most importantly, you'll realize that you are so darn proud of yourself. Proud of your resilience, your determination, your unwavering commitment to your dreams. So let's do this, my friends. Let's kill the laziness, embrace the discipline, and get to work on creating the lives we've always wanted. It won't be easy. There will be setbacks and obstacles and moments when we want to throw in the towel. But we won't give up. We won't back down. We'll keep pushing forward, one day at a time, one step at a time, until we reach the summit of our own personal mountains. Because we are capable of greatness. We are worthy of success, and we will not let anything, not laziness, not procrastination, not fear stand in the way of our dreams. You know, one of the biggest misconceptions about success is that it happens overnight. We see these stories of people who seem to have it all figured out, the entrepreneurs who built multi-million-dollar businesses from scratch, the athletes who broke world records, the artists who created masterpieces that changed the world. And it's easy to think that they must have had some kind of magic formula, some secret ingredient that the rest of us are missing. But the truth is, success is rarely a straight line. It's a winding road full of twists and turns, ups and downs, victories and setbacks. And the people who make it to the top, they're not the ones who had it easy. They're the ones who kept going, even when the path got rough. I think about it, every single successful person you admire has faced challenges along the way. They've dealt with rejection, failure, self-doubt, and all the other obstacles that come with chasing a dream. But the difference between them and the people who give up, they didn't let those challenges define them. They didn't let the setbacks stop them in their tracks. Instead, they used those challenges as fuel for their fire. They learned from their mistakes, picked themselves up, and kept pushing forward. They developed a mindset of resilience, a belief that no matter what life threw their way, they had the strength to overcome it. And that, my friends, is the key to killing laziness and achieving your goals. It's not about being perfect or having all the answers. It's about developing a relentless commitment to growth, even in the face of adversity. So how do you cultivate that kind of resilience? Well, it starts with your mindset. You have to train your brain to see challenges as opportunities, not obstacles. You have to learn to reframe failure as feedback, a chance to learn and grow and come back stronger than before. One way to do that is to practice gratitude. When you're feeling stuck or discouraged, take a moment to reflect on all the things you have to be thankful for. Maybe it's your health, your family, your friends, your talents. Maybe it's the fact that you have a roof over your head and food on the table. Whatever it is, focusing on the positive can help shift your perspective and give you the boost you need to keep going. Another way to build resilience is to surround yourself with people who believe in you. We all need cheerleaders in our lives, people who see our potential, even when we can't see it ourselves. People who encourage us to keep reaching for the stars, even when the journey gets tough. So take a look at your inner circle. Are the people around you lifting you up or bringing you down? Are they supporting your dreams or telling you to play it safe? If you're not surrounded by people who inspire and motivate you, it might be time to make some changes. Seek out mentors, join a mastermind group, find a community of like-minded individuals who are chasing their own big goals. When you have a tribe of supporters behind you, anything feels possible. But here's the thing, even with a strong mindset and a supportive network, there will still be days when laziness tries to creep in. There will still be moments when you just don't feel like doing the work, when the couch looks a whole lot more inviting than your desk. And that's when you have to dig deep and find your why. Why did you start down this path in the first place? What is the bigger purpose behind your goals? When you connect with that deeper meaning, it becomes a lot easier to push through the tough times. Maybe your why is to create a better life for your family. Maybe it's to make a difference in your community. Maybe it's to prove to yourself that you're capable of achieving anything you set your mind to. Whatever it is, hold on to that why with both hands. Let it be the North Star that guides you forward, even when the path gets dark. And when you do find yourself slipping into lazy habits, don't beat yourself up about it. We all have off days. We all have moments when we just can't seem to muster the motivation to get stuff done. The key is to catch yourself in those moments and course correct before they spiral out of control. One way to do that is to use the 5-second rule. When you feel yourself starting to procrastinate or make excuses, count down from 5 and then take action. Don't give yourself time to talk yourself out of it. Just do the thing, even if it's just for a few minutes. Often that little bit of momentum is all you need to get back on track. Another way to stay accountable is to make your goals public. Tell your friends and family what you're working towards. Post about it on social media. When you put your dreams out there into the world, it becomes a lot harder to back out or make excuses. You've got people counting on you, rooting for you, and that can be a powerful motivator to keep showing up even when things get tough. But perhaps the most important thing to remember is that progress is not always linear. There will be days when you feel like you're taking 2 steps forward and 1 step back. There will be weeks when it seems like you're not making any headway at all. But as long as you keep putting one foot in front of the other, as long as you keep choosing to show up and do the work, you will get there. It might take longer than you thought. It might look different than you imagined. But if you stay committed to the process, if you keep learning and growing and pushing yourself outside your comfort zone, you will achieve things you never thought possible. And that, my friends, is the beauty of the journey. It's not about the destination, it's about who you become along the way. It's about the lessons you learn, the skills you develop, the relationships you build. It's about discovering just how much you're capable of when you refuse to let laziness win. So as you go out there and chase your dreams, remember this: you are so much stronger than you think you are. You have reserves of courage and determination and resilience that you haven't even begun to tap into yet. And when you start to harness that power, when you start to show up for yourself day after day, even when it's hard, even when you don't feel like it, that's when the magic happens. That's when you start to see your life transform in ways you never imagined. That's when you start to inspire others with your passion and your perseverance. That's when you start to create a legacy that will last long after you're gone. Because here's the thing, the world needs more people who are willing to do the hard things. The world needs more dreamers, more risk takers, more change makers. The world needs more people like you, people who refuse to settle for a life of mediocrity, who are willing to put in the work to create something extraordinary. So don't let laziness hold you back any longer. Don't let procrastination steal your dreams. Don't let fear keep you stuck in your comfort zone. Instead, choose to be the kind of person who shows up day after day, even when it's hard. Choose to be the kind of person who believes in themselves, even when the world tells them to give up. Choose to be the kind of person who chases their dreams with reckless abandon, knowing that the journey itself is the greatest reward. Because when you do that, when you commit to living life on your own terms, when you refuse to let anything stand in the way of your success, that's when you become unstoppable. That's when you start to create a life that is rich and fulfilling and bursting with purpose. That's when you start to leave a mark on the world that will last long after you're gone. And isn't that what we all want in the end? To know that our lives mattered, that we made a difference, that we left the world a little bit better than we found it. Well, my friends, it all starts with killing the laziness and doing the work. It starts with taking that first step, even when you're scared out of your mind. It starts with believing in yourself and your dreams, even when everyone else tells you to be realistic. Because the truth is, there is no limit to what you can achieve when you put your mind to it. There is no obstacle too big, no challenge too great, no dream too wild. All that stands between you and the life you've always wanted is your willingness to go out there and claim it. Your willingness to show up day after day after day and do the hard things. Your willingness to believe in yourself even when the road gets rocky. So let's make a pact, right here and now. Let's promise ourselves that we will not let laziness win. That we will not let procrastination steal our dreams. That we will not let fear keep us small. Instead, let's commit to being the kind of people who chase our goals with everything we've got. Who show up for ourselves and our dreams, even when it's hard. Who believe in our own potential, even when the world tells us to play it safe. Because when we do that, when we choose to be bold and brave and relentless in our pursuit of success, that's when we start to create lives that are truly extraordinary. That's when we start to inspire others with our passion and our purpose. That's when we start to leave a legacy that will last long after we're gone. So let's go out there and make it happen, my friends. Let's kill the laziness and do the work. Let's chase our dreams with wild abandon, knowing that the journey itself is the greatest adventure.